Remember, when you're lost in the darkness, look for the light. That is what the Fireflies told us. But, will this TV series be something that we want to stay in the darkness? We're going to shed some light on it with the new series that we're going to be completing. If we haven't met before, my name is Brickerboom, and I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us series as a whole. I've played both of the games multiple times, I've read some of the comics, I've looked on online threads. Honestly, I've spent too much time with this series, but due to this, I thought it would be a fun idea to do a side-by-side comparison of what the TV series is offering us compared to what the video games has already completed. It shouldn't need to be said, but spoiler alert for everything that's going to be happening up ahead. For a brief idea of what we're going to do, we're going to be focusing on plot points, locations, and even some Easter eggs that The Last of Us had placed in throughout the game that may have been brought to the TV show. We're not going to be pointing out every single dialogue option because, let's be honest, they have to fill in a lot more time in a TV show than what they do in a video game, but bigger lines like when Joel said, "You're right, you're not my daughter, and I sure as hell ain't your dad." We're going to be looking into that because that's a very large part of their character, and it fuels that story along more, so we will look at that. Lastly, I'm not going to be covering character designs or anything like that because, let's be honest, since the internet released the first trailer, Reddit has already taken care of doing all of that. This is a big job, and it's going to go on for quite a few weeks, depending on how many episodes and how quickly the seasons drop. So, my wife and fellow streamer Lady Bricker is going to be helping me spot the differences. If we missed anything, or if you want a more in-depth analysis that I can always drop at a later date, let me know in the comments below, and as always, make sure to like and follow the channel for more. I would appreciate it. So, with that all out of the way, let's go ahead, hop into it as we review The Last of Us TV series. First and foremost, the TV series starts with a meeting talking about fungal disease, which, in all honesty, was a pleasant surprise given the fact that I feel like we didn't know a whole lot about what was happening up until about the time that we saw the first spores.
So if that happens,
we lose.
When we see Joel and Sarah for the first time, it's early morning and Sarah's making him breakfast. When we look at the video game, Joel is talking about losing a job and Sarah's asleep on the couch. Also, it's stated that Joel is turning 36, but in the video game, he's 32. I did also just want to take a brief moment to point out that we are going to be using subtitles for The Last of Us TV series, given the fact that this is my first upload doing so. I don't know how strict the copyright is going to be on the actual TV series, but I know with the video game, I can at least go ahead and post the content from there directly. This way you are able to follow along with any dialogue choices. Moving forward, the whole adventure with Sarah, with the watch going to school, etc., is kind of nice to see. When we look at the video game, while it is absolutely heart-wrenching at the beginning, we didn't know much about her. With this, given the fact that it is a TV series, and they don't have to constrict to a certain time period aside from what they desire, they're able to do a deeper dive into her character, so we actually get to know her a little bit. While the game has a year of 2013, the TV show has a year of 2003. Granted, we know why they do this, because the 20-year skip can be 2023 because meta is important. While Sarah is visiting the neighbors, getting to see the old woman beginning to turn was a nice bit of suspense to this. Since it is the TV series, obviously we know that major points like where Sarah dies, where Tess dies, etc., is going to be the same. Getting to see these little tiny details that they've added is really cool. We don't know if maybe they're going to jumpstart the disease, if Sarah's going to be caught off guard. We don't know what's going to happen, and it does set things up later for when Mercy is on Sarah and Joel's front porch, and Sarah has to try and take her back. In the game, Joel only receives the watch. In the TV show, he receives the watch fixed and the movie he likes, which is actually something that they reference in the second video game. So they're already starting to bring in these Easter eggs from the second game into the first one.
Borrowed from the Adlers.
Oh, this is the one with the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
I was thinking of inviting Joel to watch a movie.
Oh. You guys good?
Yeah.
What movie you guys gonna watch? What's Joel into?
Curtis and Viper 2. That's the one that's been on my radar for a while.
Oh, wow.
We used to watch these cheesy 80s action movies. He's really into them.
Oh no.
I actually really like them too.
Tommy calls Joel in this, needing Joel to go pick him up from jail, and honestly, this part threw me off. Not because Tommy's in jail, but the fact that Tommy tells Joel it's Friday, meanwhile Sarah's teacher tells them to turn in their homework by the end of class tomorrow. Obviously, this isn't a difference by any means, it's just something that my wife picked up on, and we kind of thought that it was funny. One thing I've noticed in this show, just even from the beginning of the day with the watch shop, we're starting to see an overwhelming amount of military presence. Granted, it could be for many different reasons in comparison to the game, like the amount of space that they have to work with on a disc compared to a Hollywood budget, but I like this because you can immediately tell that things are already starting to go to hell. In the game, the Coopers were the first case we get to see face-to-face with this infection, or fungal virus, or whatever you would like to call it, while in the show, it's the Adlers. We get to see the worst game of Clue ever when Joel and Tommy show up with Mrs. Adler in the front yard with a pipe wrench. Now, this is an incredibly small detail to point out, but as they're driving, in the game, the farm burning is on the passenger side of the car, while in the show it's on the driver's side. And I just want to point out that I've played this game way too many times. With this, we get to see them driving through a field, which does not happen in the video game. After that, a truck in the game is what causes them to crash, while a downed airplane is what does it here. Honestly, I kind of like the airplane idea just because it ups the disparity a little bit more. But again, it still did the same job. Tommy and Joel don't initially get separated. Tommy stays behind in a bar, it looks like, to fend off zombies, while Joel runs ahead. But due to Deus Ex Police Car, that had different plans for the show. From there, it sticks pretty close to the game for a bit, as Sarah, unfortunately, passes away from her gunshot wound. With that, that wraps up essentially the prologue of the game, and the TV show as well, so we're going to go ahead and skip to 20 years later. While in the game, we skip to Joel being woken up from some kind of nightmare. In this, it starts with a little girl. Hi, quick editor note, I realize now that it was a boy, I have been dealing with hell just trying to get this video uploaded, so sorry, I didn't want to have to re-record everything. Just know that I know now that it is a boy. Okay, thanks, bae. She makes it to somewhere she believes she's safe, and honestly, it's heartbreaking. It's a brilliant addition to the show, because we're starting to build up on this world that is ravaged by disease and ravaged by zombies. While they're not technically zombies in the sense that they're dead, they have no feelings. They're essentially just puppets being controlled. And knowing that even children in this aren't safe, we knew this already with Sarah, but this little girl that we see appears to be even younger than Sarah. We later see her body, and we see Joel working, further setting up the world that we're in, and further setting up that Joel is part of this community, albeit most likely very begrudgingly. From there, we pan over to Tess, who initially in the series meets up with Joel at his apartment, but in this, she's talking to Robert. Then Tess has the second worst day of her life as an explosion knocks her on her ass. She sees a corpse a few inches away from her face. She runs out, nearly gets shot, then gets wrestled to the ground by the army, or Fedra, or whatever you would like to call them, and then gets put in jail for the day. After this, we pan over to Ellie, who is giving the name Veronica I'm not 100% sure what the point of this is, but we do find out later what her real name is. We do know that she's lying. I don't know why they don't want to tell the real name, and that is one thing that irritates me in just zombie apocalypse style video games, is that people are so secretive with their names. I'm sorry, but no matter how unique your first name is, or you think your first name is, there is probably going to be someone out there who has the same first name, so you should probably get facial features rather than names if you're going to go out on a hit squad. Last of Us 2. Anyway, while in the game, Joel and Tommy haven't talked in a while because they were fighting. In this, the TV series makes it sound like they're talking frequently. I know that they are brothers, I know that they obviously care about each other, but it is a distinct change from the game to the TV adaptation. Tess kills Robert in the game, but here we find him dead. There's a whole part of the game where they adventure through an area that has spores, and honestly, that is something that I wish they had kept in the TV series. While the tendrils on the creatures look cool, the spores helped make you realize that even the air around you can be dangerous. It's revealed that they were trying to talk to Robert to get a battery, while in the game it's guns. We also hear Joel's full name, Joel Miller, quite early, while in the games we didn't find out until the second installment, and we didn't even find out until we saw his headstone. And honestly, I kind of liked the idea of keeping the mystery alive with that. I understand why they did it this way, but I kind of would have preferred if they would have kept that out for a little bit longer just to build up the mystery of this character. Now, coming here, this is my all-time favorite addition to the show, when Ellie finds a note that hints to Joel's time as a raider. The special codes that are set up on the radio, the numbers, etc., is something I wish they had gone over more in the video game, because all we find out when they go to the next city, I want to say it's Atlanta or Pittsburgh, one of the two. I'll make sure to include a video game clip here.
How did you know
Know what?
about the ambush?
I've been on both sides.
Oh. So, there are a lot of innocent people? I'll take that as a yes.
Take it however you want.
See, we do find out that he's been on both ends of this, and I want them to explore more of that. I'm okay with the fact that they didn't include anything in the 20-year time skip just to make it more poignant that a 20-year time skip did occur, but overall, I hope that we do get to see some more shady stuff from Joel with this being pointed out. Bill was mentioned. I'm wondering if maybe there's going to be an episode of them surviving the apocalypse together, since they do know each other. As they make their way out of the city, they get stopped by a guard that Joel knows, while in the game, it's an unknown man and woman. This, in all honesty, is another great part that they added, because PTSD is a very real thing, and Joel seeing his daughter essentially die right in front of him has to be absolutely heart-wrenching, and the fact that this man points a gun at him and this little girl is standing behind him, it would naturally bring up those kind of memories, and the fact that he sprung into action and it just seemed to lose absolute control over his body was incredible, and I absolutely love it. As we begin to wrap up the episode, we see the radio flicker on, and while it's small and difficult to see, in the city we see and hear a clicker, which I'll make sure to circle here, but that leaves us with a wonderful and chilling ending to the first episode. And that is going to wrap up our side-by-side comparison of The Last of Us video game versus the TV show. Overall, I feel like they're trying to expand on the world without changing the characters too much. In my mind, that's a good thing, because it allows us to be able to develop further feelings for these characters. In video games, it's hard to have long cutscenes and keep it cinematic while keeping people interested, and that's what The Last of Us did very well. So I feel like they're just trying to expand on that without ruining the characters. What we'll end up doing is we're going to end up diving into each episode as they come out and doing this, so make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you do want to keep up with it. My goal, again, is to release these by Tuesday. This one did come out a little bit later. I'm still learning some of the copyright stuff that I have to be able to tiptoe around. This way I can release content that I'm happy with and that you will actually enjoy watching. So fingers crossed that there are no issues. Let me know as well in the comments. Did I miss anything? Did you like this kind of series? Are there other series like The Walking Dead, for example, or Invincible that you would want to see me do a comparison side by side of? Let me know. And until next time, everybody, peace out.